Sounds good.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to FMA Discussion episode 94. Tonight, I just had a couple technical difficulties with technology, but nevertheless, we are here. So, I want to thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Yeah. Like I said, one of the goals is trying to get more females on, and slowly but surely it's happening. So again, yeah, absolutely. If you're jumping in, please tell us where you're watching from and all that, and hit the like button. All right. So got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about tonight because you got a background, obviously. Then we got your military experience, and plus not only that, I kind of wanted to get into your view on women's self-defense and et cetera and all that, so all that good stuff. But besides that, you're in Colorado, am I correct?
I am. We're in Colorado Springs. I am stationed at Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station and Peterson Air Force Station, even though I'm in the Army. But so I traded up on the bases here.
Oh, okay. So what's the whole thing like with COVID and training? What's Colorado got going on?
Yeah, so thankfully Colorado just moved out of red, which is our most restrictive, into orange. When we first arrived here in August, it was open. Colorado Springs was open, almost like normal before pandemic. Some restaurants you had to go, but most training schools were open. The only problem with that is there's only about 2 FMA gyms in the vicinity of a 30-minute drive of where I am. And so it really kind of turned into finding people at work. It's amazing how many people you can find through the military that train really niche, random things. So 2 individuals at my work train FMA, and we just started going to each other's houses. But unfortunately, not a lot of people have that option. So in the spring, there's less FMA presence than I would hope for.
Yeah, but you're doing the best you can with the circumstances. So I mean, good on you for actually finding people to train with and and all that. And hopefully by summer we'll be out of this miserable mess.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so. And I will say, Stockton Multi Style is amazing when it comes to facilitating training. And so if I call and say, Master, I need help, I need training, they will do Zoom classes, they will send videos of themselves for me to train on. So I'm really fortunate when it comes to the club that I'm with that they make sure you get your training in.
Oh, fantastic. So let's with that, let's go into FMA. So what was your first exposure to FMA? I mean, was it multi-Stockton or something else?
Yeah, funny enough, it was. So I was in Monterey, California, and my wonderful husband, really, I had always wanted to be, and I'm a self-proclaimed nerd, so I'm just going to say it. I'd always wanted to be either a ninja or Highlander, because I watched it with my dad growing up, and I wanted desperately to be one of those 2 things. And I usually try to do a different sport or activity at every location. And Monterey had really one of the best trainings with Pete and Marianne. They're phenomenal instructors. They've been doing it forever, and they're part of Stockton. And that's really, my husband Googled it and said, I think you should go here, and been with them ever since.
So the lack of finding a jiu-jitsu school, you settled on...
No, my husband is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Anytime I want to get beat up, I can do that at home.
So the people you just mentioned, I'm not familiar with. They're part of the Stockton Multi Style?
Absolutely. Pete and Marianne. My kids call them Papa Pete and Aunt Mac. Okay. They are a small school in Monterey that is part of Stockton Multi Style. And we go up to Stockton. I mean, they would go every day if we let them. But we go up to Stockton at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, especially when you're prepping for like a graduation test. So we make the trip up to Stockton often.
Wow.
And so come to Monterey because it's a great location to be. I mean, you can't be mad about coming down to Monterey.
Yeah, no, just when I hear about it. Yeah. And so, like, what year? Like, how long ago did you start?
So honestly, I've only been training for about 2.5 years.
Okay, so about 2.5 years you start with. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? I was gonna say there. So, I had those guys on. I think it was last summer. I think. and all that. And just for the folks who maybe didn't see it, why don't you give us, obviously there's three systems within the system.
Right.
So why don't you share with the folks what those are?
So I actually want to talk a little bit about Leo Giron is the who we follow and who really brought that system to Stockton. And it's kind of a little known story that he actually set that up for women because he was in Stockton. He saw that I think on the news there were quite a few nurses that had been murdered.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
If these women had just an ounce of what we know with FMA, because at that point, FMA was kind of held very close knit to the family. It wasn't shared, especially it wasn't shared outside of a Filipino community. And he kind of went against the system and said, I can do something and I can save these women. And so most of his students at the beginning were women. And, now there's fewer. It's a lot more men. But I love the story that he started making sure.
It's pretty remarkable. What he was trying to accomplish. Yeah.
A lot of our system, it's a I'll use the word violence, pretty violent system. We don't really deal in defensive postures. We do evades and we do Lagamano to make sure you have your distance, but we train open hand against knife, knife against knife, long stick, blade, and it's an aggressive system, and that's how they train it. They're very proud, and it's really good training for me and anyone else who comes through, that they train you for actual real life. They show you the techniques and you run drills, but they're hard hitting drills. We're not just tapping sticks, and I love that part of it.
Yeah, and I've seen some of their stuff, and I know a couple people that are in it and all that. But so obviously the Heron system is a big part of it. What do you and then and I know the Heron system covers a lot of the the Largomano and all that.
Absolutely.
But there's also some Kabbalahs in there. Have you guys touching on that and all that, as far as the short and long Spadia Daga?
Absolutely. So Spadia Daga, I love doing it. And so we're going to do some of the stuff that we're talking about in the demonstrations, but that's one of the best things about the system. It is multi-style. So we do a lot of the Largomano is really kind of the base of the system. It's where you start. It's the first thing you learn to get your distances and be able to strike, but be able to have your distance as well. I really like that. But the Spadia Daga, man, I love doing that.
Yeah, I have to say it's knife's my favorite, but if I look at the art, I would have to say, long and short. Yeah. It's just such a puzzle. You know what I mean? There's just like it's like endless refinement, and there's just like what you can work on, how you can get better, and just it's like infinite. Yeah. So
there's infinite ways to do it, infinite ways to get better, and a lot of the stuff that the guys will tell you is we'll show you the how Leo taught it and how it was taught, and then they show, hey, this is kind of how I adapt it, not losing any of that basic skill, but say, hey, I'm shorter, I'm taller, my reach is better. I can stand here and I can lunge forward with my shoulder, and I can reach someone where you can't. But the mechanics are the same. But yeah, I like refining and being able to see how quick can I get that, or how quick can I transition from long to short. It's a fun system.
Yeah. So before you went, like I said, I know it's 2.5 years ago. It sounds like you did other stuff. I'm going to guess maybe some traditional martial arts prior to that. Okay.
Yeah. So it really started military combative. We always had military combatives tournaments. And I've been in the military 13, almost 14 years. So the beginning, we've had the military, the MACP program for a while, but it wasn't a big, women weren't real big fans of it at the beginning. There weren't a lot of female soldiers that wanted to just get in there and beat each other up for the heck of it. So we had all these tournaments, all these combative tournaments. And I like trophies, that I like winning. So I signed up for a lot of those and really found a love of that, which led to jiu-jitsu. So I did that type. And then all of that, you say, okay, well, if I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do takedowns, okay, well, what about kickboxing? Okay, well, this is fun. Oh, what about Muay Thai? And sort of dabble in all of those things. And I enjoyed them, but man, I really like having a weapon in my hand. FMA is my favorite by far.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I went through a same revelation. I had, I did traditional taekwondo and all that. I mean, I'm talking that time frame of like '90s and all that. And when the UFC just first came out in '93, so prior to that, there wasn't a lot to kind of pick and choose from. It was pretty much traditional and all that. And FMA in Connecticut at that time, there was only like one. And if you didn't even know what FMA was, it didn't matter. It could have been around your house. It could have been around the corner. But when I did see it, yeah, my whole lens just changed. I don't know. I think I think it does bring out something special in us, and it's when you see it, it's for you, for whatever. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people I talk to, they have shared, some of their circumstances or stories like that. When they first saw it, they were just, captured. But so you mentioned you have so when you're doing this, you come from a traditional background. What was your first class? I mean, like, what were your initial thoughts of like seeing things flying around, weapons?
Well, funny enough, there is no easing into it for the Stockton and the Monterey guys. So I showed up to class, and it's a small club, which I really enjoy. And I'm used to martial arts. You walk in, the yes sir, the yes ma'am. I went. They were training and working with 2 individuals to work towards graduation, and those individuals were further along than I was. And so Pete said, "Hey, welcome to the class. I'm going to show you a few things. Here's a stick." And they just started swinging at me. I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm going to learn through fire. And so they kind of gave you that this is not going to be easy. And if you want to stay here, you're going to need to be able to take a hit, hopefully block it. And Pete gave me a lot of individual training and made sure they just poured that effort into anyone that wants to be part of that FMA. Because that's one thing I'll say about Stockton and the Monterey group. It's not just an FMA club. It's not just come and go to a gym and pay your $30 like I love kickboxing or something. Family. Every time that we get together, someone is cooking, someone has out, the adult beverages, the kids are shooting arrows in the back. It's a family that I have never had in martial arts, and I am so very thankful and blessed for.
Yeah, depending on the group you're in, yeah, there can be a sense of like that real collectiveness, as opposed you're part of, and nothing. And I'm not saying anything bad like that, but if you're part of like, depending on the sanction of Taekwondo, I mean, it's, it can be huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you literally could be a number in Nebraska.
Right.
I mean,
it's hard to make a family cohesive around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our children call every one of our Stockton brothers and sisters auntie or uncle. We don't know names. They just know auntie, and that they're going to sneak them some sort of snack they're not supposed to have. Like that's
Oh, awesome. But we got, I'm just going to take a chance there just to acknowledge we got a group that's already watching. So, hey, Paul, Sherry Livers from Kentucky, Sarah O'Brien, Frank Tchaikovsky, WD, West Virginia, Alvin. Congrats, Alvin, on your new rank and all that. Congratulations. And Brian Rodriguez, the man with producing the swords. And we got Guru Eugene, Guru Terry, and all that. All right. Thanks, guys. If you are watching, you've just jumped in, please tell us where you're watching from. All right. And Quentin.
Oh, cute. Congratulations. He's awesome.
Okay. So again, how far is Monterey from Stockton?
Well, you can ask you, depending on the traffic. Sometimes it's 4 to 5 hours. Most of the time it's about an hour and 45, right at 2.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I keep forgetting how long California is. I mean, yeah, it's like 10 Connecticut's stacked up or something.
Yeah, it's very long.
Yeah.
There almost every Friday. The Stockton guys will just wear you out, which is wonderful. I mean, we're there for hours. They feed you always. And it's almost torture. You're training and you're training hard, and somebody's cooking right beside you. Like, you don't get this unless you earn it.
Yeah.
So you're eating wonderful food while you're training. The gas station workers knew Q and I by the time that we got done training, because we would always stop, and by the time we left and we were done, they would know to hand us ice when we walked in, because we were so beat up on the drive home.
Oh, jeez. So, yeah, wow. So, again, just, for the folks who jumped in, because I'm not familiar with these two, their full names, your teachers there, Monterey?
So Pete and Marianne Mellison.
No, okay. All right. And they're,
Sorry, Pete.
and were they, and then did Pete go through Huron, or did he go under like June, Terry, and that group?
So Pete is an instructor with June and Terry. He's been in the organization for quite a while. So has Marianne. They're both instructors, and they're both same year group class type group as June and Terry and all those individuals.
Okay. Oh no, fantastic. No. I was curious what the direct, what lineage more or less they went in, but no, fantastic. So all right. So again, back to your first thing. You're seeing these weapons, all that. You came. I'm guessing when you were doing traditional, it was more the staff, tonfa, et cetera, and all that. Now you're seeing, sword translation, stick and knife, and all that. I mean, it's like, what was your first class experience like? Did they just throw you right into the in the mix?
Sort of. I think Pete did a really good job to come over, and he basically showed me everything that he could show me in a short amount of class, to say, hey, are you really committed to this? Because if so, we're going to pour our effort into you. So we looked at 1 through 5 strikes. We did blocks through 1 through 5. We looked at a little bit of knife. So I had a little bit of experience with knife. Very informal. A friend of ours does Kali. He would come over. We would drink. We would play with, the training knives. So I really enjoy the knife. So he showed me a little bit of that as well. He kind of gave me a taste of everything to see if I really wanted to do it. It was a long class. He stayed as long as I wanted to stay, and it was great.
Fantastic. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Like, show you a little of everything, just so you know what you can make a, lack of a better way to put it, an educated decision if it's something you want to pursue or not. I mean, what I do have let me just get this question before I ask you another question. Are there other Filipino martial arts schools in Monterey?
So not that I know of. I don't want to speak out of turn and say absolutely no, but Monterey is really small. It's right in the Bay Area. There's not a lot of real estate. And I don't know of any. If other individuals like Eugene or Terry or online, I see them in the chat, if they know of some, but I will tell you there's not any as good as Pete and Marianne's place or as Stockton. So there might be some close. I couldn't Googled, and I didn't find them driving around. I haven't heard of them. So maybe there's, a small school or, a couple of guys. I know. So Naval Postgraduate School is there, and I know some of the guys at Naval Postgraduate School would train martial arts kind of just as like a small group, maybe 2 or 3 of them on MPS or at the gym, but I don't think it was FMA. It may have had some sort of stick, but I don't believe it was FMA.
Yeah, it could have been maybe a traditional system. Just Okay. Interesting. So back to the class setting there. Like, what's a typical size of class?
In Monterey, 3 to 4, depending on how many people come to try the class. There's a lot of people, I think that you can probably attest to this, a lot of people that seem to come try FMA and would stay 1 or 2 classes and then say, I'm going to go back to kickboxing or I'll do jujitsu. And there's nothing against any of those martial arts because they're all useful and hard and you got to dedicate to it. But not a lot of people seem to stick around when you swing a stick really hard at them.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that you brought up a good point because, these are just conversations I've had behind the scenes, these interviews, and a couple have come up in the actual interviews. It's like for student retention, in other words, if this is your livelihood, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And student retention is a big factor as far as income and all that. Yeah, you're probably not going to be bringing the wood out like every night during class and all that. So it's funny. And so I do have an appreciation for that if it's their livelihood. This is why I teach, but man, it's not my livelihood. Matt,
Right.
it's like, this is what I do. You either like it or you don't. If you don't like it, I can refer you to somewhere else where that, but like, I am not going to like change my value system as a teacher or what I believe in all that. But I do, but again, back to that, if there is their livelihood, I do have empathy, you know what I mean? That maybe they can't go to the extreme that perhaps they would, you know, as far as, you know, functionality or as far as like contact, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so, yeah. So it sounds like, go ahead.
Out with the club and the location I was in, that, like you said, the individuals that were teaching because they want to, because they love the art, because they're really just building their own training partners, you know, and they're handing off that system to the next generation of individuals that are going to keep it alive and keep it true to Leo Giron's system and keep it true to the actual sport and the FMA. But it wasn't their livelihood. They both had other, you know, well-paying, respectable jobs that they did.
That's why they didn't care. That's why they didn't care if there was 4 people that showed up or whatever, because they knew those 4 people were going to be like down for the cause.
Yeah. But they did care. They put in, quite a few people showed up, and you know, they wouldn't just start swinging sticks at them.
No. I guess
what would you like to? And so they put in effort. But I don't think it was for monetary reasons. I think it really was because they love the art and they want people to enjoy it.
Yeah, I believe it. Like, if you knew what I charged my guys, I mean, they would laugh. But I don't do it for money. I'm doing it for you know, the preservation of the art. You know, not to get off topic here, but you know, if we don't start getting the youth in and all that, so I really do it to preserve, you know, the integrity of the art, what was originally for, and all that. So yeah, clearly, you know, many of us are not doing it for the money. I could tell you that.
Right. Anyone that the thing of the youth, and you know, we had talked a little bit yesterday of, real quickly, how do we get the youth involved? How do we get more women involved? And it completely, I started thinking about it, and I was like, man, I should have just asked the Stockton guys. They have, and I'm going to get a lot of this wrong on the specifics, but they have programs to pull the youth from Stockton into Eskrima and into FMA. They sponsor, I think it's not the Boys and Girls Club, but it's something similar. Sir, please forgive me that I'm getting this wrong, but I know that they do a lot of programs. They do a lot of fundraisers to funnel money into the youth and pull them into Filipino martial arts so that they're not doing other things. And they start young too. On the face, I mean, it's adorable watching them. You
know, I have to give those guys a lot of credit. They're very active getting the youth in. Like, I mean, Terry, I mean, I give those 3, you know, Guru Eugene, I give those guys tons of credit, because I mean, they, like, I've seen kids in their classes, I've seen it. So I think they're very proactive, getting the youth in, and all that. So no, I think what they do is fantastic, you know, trying to do that, and all that. But so then, all right, so obviously you're digging the first class. You know, you're returning. they didn't scare you away.
No.
So tell us, you know, what's your, you know, you kind of seen it all and all that. We know you have an affinity for the Spotty Daga, but like, if you were just to choose kind of one weapon, you know, what do you mostly appreciate and like to work?
Probably a short blade, like a straight blade that you would carry, such as knife, or pocket stick. I love both of those things because I'm usually not carrying a long sword. I wish I could walk around like Highlander with. I mean, I really wish I could.
Move to Texas.
Yeah, I desperately want to, but they won't let me. But I can carry a folder or a straight blade, and I usually have that on me in my uniform, whether I'm in kit on deployment or I'm just in my regular uniform. I have some sort of blade, and so I really like to make sure that I am proficient with what I carry on a daily basis.
Yeah. No argument here, man. That, like, I don't know. Most of my time spent with knife. I mean, I like it all and all that, but It's why, God forbid, I want to see out there. You know what I mean?
And it's something that it doesn't have to be 100%. You have to hit this exact section, or that hit you with the knife almost anywhere. It's not going to be good for you. So one might be more advantageous than the other, but it's a lot of gross motor skill that I can get behind quickly, and I can teach friends quickly that they've got some skill just in 1 or 2 classes. I really enjoy knife. And it's fun to beat up my husband too.
Yeah. Oh, you got the Bob back there. Good.
Oh yeah. Bob is well.
Wow. Jeez. So, again, what's the, and I forgive me. The third aspect is escaping me. The third system within the system, if that makes sense. We got the Huron system, Cabales. What's the third in the multi-stock? What's the third system? Starts with a D. I can't remember it. Oh my God.
And now I'm blanking on the
Go Terry.
Terry, help me. Thank you, Terry. I don't remember.
God, it starts with a D. You got the Huron, you got the Cabales, and the third, which kind of makes up the Stockton Multi Style. And the third one starts with a D, and it's
like the Defundo section part of Stick and Blade.
Not the Defundo, not the range. This is actually a system that they pulled from. Hopefully, Guru Terry or somebody's going to mention it on here. But anyway, it's.
I'm totally failing my group right now.
No. I'm failing. I should know it as well. So don't. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Yep. The Derek Waters.
Marianne and all the Stockton guys will tell you. So I'll be like, 90% of my retention is exactly how to do it and what my block is, or what my evade, or what my disarm is. I'll be like, what was it called? What was it called? I can describe it. I can show you the names of things.
I'm
not very good at it. I know it's a deficiency. Sorry, I'll work on it.
No. Again, I messed up too. So, but I was always curious about that system. Everybody's heard of Cabales and and obviously Huron and all that. But when those guys came out to Connecticut, they were an hour away. But I made a point. You get down there, meet them, all that. But great guys. Interesting stuff, and and all that. But we got a few more people. Let me just. 2 more people jumped in here. Alvin, Maestro Alvin, no problem. Again, congrats. Thank you, Brian. And hey, Guru Tom. Yeah, thank you again, Terry. And yes, he did, Brian. He sure did mention it. Thank God. Maestro Chad, hey. And so all right. So then, all right. So what's all right? 2.5 years before you move. What's the ranking like? Did you want rank? Did you get any rank thus far?
Yeah, so the way the system works, you're either a graduate or you're not. And then after a graduate, you can be an instructor. And then, as you get experience and age up, you move into like a guru. Kind of really, that takes a while. So when I first started, I didn't really care about rank. I just wanted to go check it out. And the more I got into it and the more I saw like, hey, here is everything you get to know and learn if you're working towards graduation. It really just became, I wanted to continue with this art. I wanted to continue with this club. And part of that meant that I wanted to really kind of dedicate myself to them and make sure that I was graduated from the system so that I could start working on my instructorship when I moved. And so that's kind of where I am. So I graduated with Q. Me and Q were the 2 graduates in our class. No, I'm sorry. There was another one. Anthony, forgive me. But we were the 2 graduates from Monterey, and then Anthony from Stockton graduated with us. So it was a small class, which meant they got to beat on us quite a bit, which was awesome. And being a graduate means I can start working on my instructorship slowly but surely. I've got a couple friends that are here that are interested in women's self-defense. And so I've used that avenue to say, okay, let me work on my instructorship. Let me show you some of the basic things and really hone in my skill on how do I transfer that knowledge.
Let's go over because some of this is new to me, and maybe for the folks watching that might not completely understand the structure and all that. So when you say graduation, Walk us through that. Obviously, that seems like a step before instructorship. So, what's going on there?
You have to know a lot of the system, which means you know almost all of the defundo, you know the blocks, you know the moves, you know the evades, you know everything in the system, you know a good portion of it, and can do it on command immediately. So they call something out, you do it. So you do what's called a graduation, which means everyone comes out of the woodwork to show up for your graduation, and they put you through a gauntlet of tests. It's almost a half of a day. And you are on a line, they call something out, and you have to execute immediately. You get it wrong, you might get a chance to do it again. But if you don't, you move on, and you get scored on every single skill within the system, being able to execute it properly and through force. That's force coming from them and you coming. It's not just technique. It's, can you actually block all of these? Can you actually disarm me? Can you actually do double sticks? How does your knife look? How does your footwork? And then we do multiple strikes and heavy hits. So you're in the middle and you've got people circling you, and no matter where they are or where they come from, you better block hard.
Seen that. Okay.
It's all, it's scary as all get out, but it is.
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. It must be a fantastic stress inoculation thing. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. I probably went through. I mean, you were there all day. They're like, bring some oranges, bring some snacks, bring some water. And one of our graduates injured himself, his hand during and we just taped his hand to his stick. Like, you are gonna graduate if you can. You're
gonna finish this.
No, we just taped his hand to his stick. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're gonna finish.
Yeah. Wow. So, before we get into the man in the middle, so to speak, and all that, so there sounds like they're pulling different stuff from within the systems, and then you have to demonstrate some of the fondo.
Yes.
Fondo, short and long.
Stick, open hand, long blade, lagomano, you name it. If it's in the system, you're going to demonstrate a portion of it, and you don't know which one it is. So you got to know it all.
No, that's fantastic. And so, all right. So So when you pass that, like when you're the grad, because I know I've seen their posts regarding the graduates and all that, and it looks pretty neat. So when you graduate, that's like a pre-step. If I'm articulating this correctly, prior to instructorship, am I correct in that?
So if you want to be an instructor for Stockton, you absolutely 100% have to be a graduate. That is like bare minimum entry.
Okay.
And to even consider, for them to even say, at some day, some point, we will test you to see if you're going to be an instructor. And it's almost like another graduation. You're tested as an instructor. Can you still do the skills? And can you do them correctly? Not just show them, but do you know what cues to tell your students so that their footwork is correct, or that their hand is back to center, or are you picking up on able to teach? It's a while from graduation to instructor. It's not just.
Now I understand this better, which I clearly didn't before this. I think there's something really unique and positive about that. Like, you're getting a rank, you're able to teach and promote the art based on that level, what you got to, and all that. But yet, from that, there's also the instructor level. I don't know. I think that's kind of unique the way they do that. That's really that's interesting. When previous to this, because I've seen some of their videos on the on the graduates, and I've seen some of the stuff and all that, but I guess I was under the impression that graduate, that you kind of graduated the system. I didn't know that was kind of like a tier, but above that there was an instructorship. So I don't know, that's kind of neat. I like that. When you get the quote unquote graduate, you're able to teach basically, if I'm correct, everything you tested on up to that point. Does that sound?
So, and I make sure that I'm using these words correctly. So I would never, if I'm posting my profile online, I would never say I am a Stockton Multi Style instructor.
No, understood. You say graduate.
Yeah, I'm a graduate, and for me to be able to learn how to instruct correctly, especially when I'm distance, I'm going to grab friends of mine, or I'm going to get a student and I'm going to say, hey, if you want to learn this, I need to practice teaching. So, hey, let me show you what I know. Let me teach you what I teach. And sometimes I'll do video calls with Pete and Marianne and say, hey, can you watch me instruct this? And it'd be, 1 through 5 blocks or, strikes. What am I missing on the cues and that kind of stuff, so that I'm working on passing on that knowledge correctly and staying true to the system.
I think it's fantastic. Again, I don't know if I just misunderstood, because you hear the term graduate, for face value, you assume like, oh, they graduated the system.
So I don't want to downplay that. A graduate is a big deal.
No, and I'm not undermining it. Yeah, no, and I believe, I think it's critical, like, and all that. I think it's really neat the way they set that up.
Yeah.
Because, and I tell you why I believe this, or what I think, anyhow, my opinion, which means nothing, is that no, it really means nothing.
Well, then what are we doing here?
Is that they give you the ability to teach the basics, which you graduate on and spread it. And I think that's fantastic. And then after that, you go, and at the same time, they're kind of helping you with the teaching. It's like a great farm system. To me, it's like, yeah.
And but it's in military and moving around a lot. I wanted to make sure I graduated so that I could promulgate the system at each of the locations that I go to. I move a lot. We move every 2, sometimes every 1.5 years. And so being able to take that system and really promote it at each location, it was a huge deal for me to graduate. And I
mean,
my mom and dad are online. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, Terry Samples. That's my mom and dad.
Oh, hey, Mom and Dad.
Oh, sorry, I'm a total nerd. I'm a total mama's girl. So hi.
Yeah, it's funny, not to. I just think it's getting me thinking now, like, how to, like, I don't know. I just think that's really neat. Like,
I love how you set up, and it also as a graduate, I'm also allowed to, if there are other people training to graduate, I'm allowed to come and strike and be,
part of the test, part of the graduation test.
Part of the training and part of the graduation test. If I've graduated, I can strike you. If I haven't graduated, I'm on the other end of the stick.
No, I don't know. I think it's fantastic. Like, you got the basics, so you graduate on the basics. Now you're able to share them, and then if you want more than basics, well, then you need to get. I think that's great. So generally speaking,
instructorship, you get a lot more of the nuanced, advanced defundo and advanced disarms, and so graduates, the basics, and you've probably went over a lot of the advanced stuff as well, just in class and playing around. And
you probably were exposed to it. You just weren't held accountable for it.
I'm not held accountable for it yet, right? And then as you get towards your instructorship, you are black belt with red stripes and all that type of stuff. Moving on, if we're comparing ranks.
So generally speaking, and I know it's different for everybody. So about 2 or so years in, you were able to graduate.
I actually graduated sooner than that, and that is only because I begged Pete and Marianne, and I begged the guys at Stockton, and so I'm pretty open and honest. I had a pretty good Come to Jesus meeting. I had been training at Monterey, and I was like, I'm getting this. And then I went up to Stockton. I wasn't able to go up as much as I wanted in the beginning, just because of military and just being busy, right? Life happens. And so I was like, okay, I'm going up to Stockton. I've got this. I go up to Stockton, and I had to come to Jesus of like, I am not as good as I thought I was. Like, I am not ready. And so, I looked at Pete and June and Gene and the guys up there. They said, hey, if you want this, you have to show up to Stockton more often. And Pete and Marianne said, we will get her ready. And it was really just kind of a rededication to that. Pete and Marianne would let us come to their house and train. The guys at Stockton came down to Monterey more. It was really, I wouldn't have been able to do it without the group effort. I graduated the fastest of anybody in the system. And it was really just the effort that I was able to put in, but really the Stockton and the Monterey guys put into me and said, we believe in you. We know you can do it. You have the athletic ability. We see it, but you can get better quick. And so we just trained more.
No, I mean,
trained more.
No, good on you. That's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm sure they wouldn't have done it if you weren't. I mean, obviously you showed me already, and
I'll tell you.
Yeah. So, but generally speaking, for the apps, those who are, or maybe who are watching that might have an interest to pursue this, generally speaking, is around 2 or so years.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
If you're gonna go a couple times a week and you're gonna make sure that you really know the system, I would say 2. That sounds about. That's pretty good. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. No, wow. Again, I think that's a great kind of like a farm thing that got going on there. I think it's fantastic. Wow. Let's get into, because we got your demos and all that. I know we got a little sidetracked, but I was just kind of around this little interested in their graduation system there.
We got videos we can send you. It's good.
Oh yeah. If you don't mind, I would love that. Sure, I could. Yeah. So what? It's funny. Every time I get women on here, I always really like to, go into this because I have, just from empty hand against knife is what I spend a lot of time in. Just God forbid, what I see out there. But from a woman's point of view and all that, and again, I believe. And I've mentioned this before, women's self-defense, not somebody like you. I'm talking about your average woman that maybe is going to like a women's self-defense course or seminar and stuff that she's not going to remember or anything like that, or certainly practice. So basically a waste of time and all that. For the average, woman and all that, what I'm describing, I believe women's self-defense should be weaponized. But what are your thoughts?
So I'll kind of channel Leo Giron in our system as well as my thoughts because they align fairly well. I'll give you some of my own specific. I absolutely think women should carry a weapon, but
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that it has to be a knife or
but something they can access and show the potential attacker.
Yes. And so I love that you asked this question because it's really how I set up my demonstration. So I focus my demonstration showing a lot of pieces in a short amount of time, basic stuff out of the system that can be used by women and that you do not have to have a weapon, right? So pocket stick, we train pocket stick, and it is one of the best self-defense mechanisms for women. I'm going to show you with my daughter's what she calls a magic wand, but it's just a pin. It's literally just a pin, and I will mess you up with it because it's easy to train. And every woman has stuff in their purse or their pocket. Because let me just take a second. Manufacturers, can women please have pockets in their pants? I'm just saying, pockets that are functional. I'm back.
Yeah, that you pull something out of. Yeah.
Put something in my pocket. Yes. But women usually have something with them. And that's part of the system, and it's one of the parts. So yeah, I think you should be confident enough in your ability to defend yourself with what you have. If you want to carry a knife, I'm all for it. I would rather you carry it. If you don't, if you're a mom and you're afraid that your kids are going to grab it, I am a paranoid mom. I get that. So train with what you have and be able to use what you have, and our system gives you that. And we're going to do that in the demonstration tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Whether it's a tactical pen, a sharpened palm stick, something that could do something to the throat and eyes. But I just firmly believe for the woman, average woman, again, so context, the average woman, not the one who's in an MMA gym, kicking people's legs off and all that, and on the ground. I'm talking about your average woman who works and all that. I just believe it's got to be weaponized. They're just not, a guy with adrenaline going and all that. But again, right, what I try to tell these women, man, know where it is. Like not in the bottom of your pocketbook where you're doing one of these numbers trying to find it. I mean, know where the damn thing is so you can get it out there, brandish it, and that might deter, whoever.
And, Marianne talks about that. A knife or a pocket set. A knife is a really good deterrent. Pete will tell you, take your knife out and carry it concealed to your truck. And if someone comes to you that you're worried about, you brandish that knife, you have a deterrent already.
100%.
Like they're already at a disadvantage. You have taken that gender gap and moved it in your favor. However, I will caveat, and I believe all of that, and I trust that that is a good logic. For women who are not comfortable with weapons, that's okay. We train open hand. You're going to see some stuff tonight. Open, empty hand against knife. I fully believe that a woman needs to be able to defend herself open hand or with a weapon. If someone's not comfortable with a weapon, that's fine. I'll train you open hand. Whatever your comfort level is, as long as you have confidence in your skills and you can defend yourself and get away. I'm not trying to train myself.
No, it's about getting home. Absolutely. Getting home safely.
Yeah, I'm not trying to have a sword fight in a Kroger parking lot, right?
Yeah.
My main goal is run. Step one, run away.
Oh, no. If you get out.
Run away, then we get into this stuff, right? Then as soon as you get that distance, right? Logo mile. As soon as I get that distance and I can get away, always retreat. Like, we're not trying to fight a crazy in a parking lot.
And I think I'm totally with you, and I think that's so important what you just mentioned. Like, you're not here to get a couple rounds in. You're here to get home safely.
Male or female. It's not a knife fight. No, it's not what we're doing.
Yeah. My thing is though, is that they can run, but it's like I tell my students, and again, I just don't find a better example of knife to use. It just, for me personally, to kind of example, for illustration purposes of what we're talking about. It's like, like I tell my students, the 2 E's, egress and ethical obligation. Egress. Maybe you can't run fast, or maybe you can't run. There's not a place to get out, whatever the scenario may be, but ethical. You got family members there. You can't run. You can't. You know what I mean? Like, you have an ethical obligation to protect the loved ones you're with. That's what I think they need. You got your kids, man, weapon.
Yeah, I would take a mama bear in a fight over any non-parent, male or female. You better like that.
No. I mean, right. It would be the most. Yeah, I totally agree. That's why I love getting women on here, because you know what I think? I think women's self-defense, like all these guys, they come over this thing, well, the groin kick, and then when you get them in the tie clinch, you're going to elbow. But the problem is, if they're not doing it regularly, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen unless they're in the gym. But a weapon, they can pull it out. It's in your DNA. Boom. You know what I mean? And I just think, this needs to come from women, like really like sound women's self-defense. You know what I mean? I think we leave it to us, men, we'll screw up anything. Not just.
You said it. No, I mean, and really it feels like, and I've noticed this in my military career as well. Sometimes a woman is easier to talk to, especially another woman. So if I ask a woman a question, or I say, hey, do you think that you'd be comfortable doing with this? I think she's going to give me sometimes a more honest answer of, I don't want to do that. Like, hey girl, I'm not carrying that. Like, okay. But if she comes into a gym with all men and she doesn't already have the confidence or the background, and they say, this is how you're going to do it, if she doesn't know any better, she's going to try to learn that. And if she's not comfortable with it, she's not going to use it. But she's not going to tell you, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, because she doesn't know what she doesn't know. And it's kind of intimidating to tell you, I know that you're the guru. I know that you're the instructor.
I know. And you just hit the nail on the head. You don't know what you don't know. You just hit the nail on the head. Like, right. It's like, how can they have compare and contrast to what would be best for them and all that? That's great stuff.
If you're an instructor, male or female, and a new student comes in, male or female, and you say, it's almost just like a military counseling, right? What are your goals? Somebody says, I just want to get in shape. Great. We can do that. Perfect. Somebody says, I want self-defense. Then you start asking those other questions. Do you want self-defense with a weapon? Are you comfortable trying to learn how to use a weapon? Or do you want to start open hand? Because if they're not going to carry that weapon, why are you showing them?
If they're not going to deploy it.
Open hand. Yeah. But open hand also translates to weapon. As we're doing open hand, or we're doing pocket stick, a lot of those moves translate to a knife, and then translate to a long blade, and then translate to a stick. So if you can show them open hand and then translate it to a weapon, they're probably going to be more comfortable with it in the end. But ask those questions, guys. Ask those questions.
Yeah, I agree. I just think, I don't know, more. I just think, man, it's just, if you got kids, if you are a woman that's you have your kids with you and all that, and whatever, your daily routine is, man, I don't know. To me, it's just weapon.
I women carrying weapons, but I'm also an advocate for women defending themselves in a way that they're actually going to learn.
Yeah, I know that they're comfortable with, and they're actually good. Right? They can have 10 knives on them if they're not going to deploy them.
Also, no one wins in a knife fight, right? If I'm knife fighting, and if you have a knife and so do I, no one's winning. I'm just hoping you lose worse. So we need to have those realistic discussions. We don't need to do stuff all the time that say, if you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, that person has moved 10 times. Like, let's have
it's too much. That's another thing too. They make it too much information. Yeah. It's just like it just kills me. I watch these women's self-defense things, and I'm like, you're a kid. You got to be kidding me. They're not going to retain this, and what you don't retain, there's no way under pressure. When stressed that you're going to be here. That's why it's got to be gross movements.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
It just kills me. Like, I see like what they think that these people are gonna do, whatever. But enough on that. But no, I want to thank you for all that.
Absolutely.
That was a great exchange.
It's important. Yeah. And I really do think that is a way, because you asked yesterday, how do we get youth and how do we get women into the space? And I've been thinking on that and kind of like mulling that over a lot. And I think self-defense really is the way to get women in the space. Self-defense and fitness. So if we can combine those two, I mean, that you look at how many gyms. There's Pilates, there's Pyo, there's hot yoga, there's Orange Theory, there's CrossFit. There's none of those two self-defense, but they're fitness, and it's a community, and it's somewhere. I mean, those are fun to go to, right? You've got a family and a community and a fun.
Yeah. Right. You're right. Yeah.
Layered self-defense, man, we're in.
Yeah, you're right though. You know what? But it's gotta be women though. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because
I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. That's where that accent.
Okay. That's all right.
When my dad talk, I have lost a lot of it.
No, but anybody was curious where you're from?
Yep,
from Kentucky. But I think far as spreading to women, I like what you just said. Like, in other words, let's just say in like your hometown, Colorado, you got like, between the whole city, there's 10 different where women go to. Whether you just said whether to Pilates, whether you go whatever, dancercise or jazzercise.
There's literally 10 within 5 miles of my location. There's probably 50 to 100 of those types of gyms in the city. Right. Yeah.
But it's got to be a woman, I believe, that goes in there and tries to convert them. Because I think if a man were to go, I just don't think it would be as successful as an accomplished like women like yourself that went in there and show them like, look, hey, I'm going to give you a few things, that could ultimately, God forbid, save you. Like,
right.
Your thoughts. What do you think?
I don't disagree with you completely. I do think that sometimes women are a little bit more at ease learning. That's why we have women's only portions of the gym, and you have, women's only fitness. I think that sometimes you're a little less self-conscious as a woman when you're learning from another woman, because you don't have to, I need to make sure I look good. I don't want to sweat too much. And, that's not all women. And please, Lord, forgive me for grouping everyone, because I'm not saying that that's it. But a lot of times you are more comfortable because you don't have anyone to impress. You're just there to work out. And I'm gonna caveat this. Men, forgive me. I'm lumping you all in a group as well. So I'm just, social faux pas over here. But sometimes you also feel safer with women, and you don't feel as judged or looked up and down. You feel a little less like, is he going to hit on me, or do I have to talk to this guy, or is he going to come over here and what they now call, which are my friend's kid told me this, mansplain. Is he going to come over here and mansplain how to use this gym equipment? Like, do I have to deal with this today?
That's a new one.
Yeah, it's new for me too. I just learned. And so I think that in that aspect, sometimes it is easier. However, pause for dramatic effect. How many women are in the FMA space? Not. So we cannot solve a problem with a solution we do not have. So if we're saying the only way we're going to get, or the main way we're going to get women in the FMA space is to have other women go in and teach it, well, it's going to be a while. Because I know of me, Marianne, and a couple other individuals in the women's FMA group.
I know. I'm not. I guess my point was not so much from the lens from FMA, but more women's self-defense. But I totally get what you're saying. If it was FMA, because of the lack of females in FMA, it's going to be a long time, or it's just not going to happen.
Weapons? Where are you getting these women?
Yeah, I know. No, I know. No, I know. That's what I mean. Right. From an FMA lens, forget it. Yeah. But if we're teaching women's
self-defense with weapons, I kind of want it to come from an FMA perspective, because that's kind of what I want them to know. And so I'll implore the men within FMA to just ask the question: how would you like to defend yourself? Are you comfortable using a weapon? If not, let me teach you the techniques with open hand, and we'll graduate you to a weapon when you are.
I like that. Like, I like your initial question there. Like, what do you, if you, God forbid, if you had to defend yourself, and I would give them two scenarios, like you have your family there, like, what would you be comfortable utilizing?
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. That's what I mean. See, it needs to come from you guys. See what I'm talking about? It needs to come from you guys.
You can say the same words. You can ask the same questions. But here's the thing. You actually have to listen.
Yeah.
So when a woman tells you, I'm not comfortable with a blade, you can't go, well, that's stupid. You should carry a blade. Great. Thanks. That's not helpful.
I agree.
Okay. We'll work you up to that. I want to give you as many skills as I can give you where you're comfortable. Because I think someone in the chat said it earlier. Gross motor skills, and if they're not going to use it, it is pointless to teach them. Teach them how they're, and I think women, you're not really giving them enough credit. And this is, me kind of.
No, I think that's fair.
Here. Because I don't really believe that there's that much difference in the genders when it comes to training and self-defense. The moves that you do, I can do. If our mechanics are correct, you might have a little more strength, but if my technique is correct, I can still beat you in a fight. I
think that's all fair.
Questions and listen when they give you an answer, and develop a training plan around that. Because eventually, and probably quicker than you think, she's going to get comfortable with a weapon. Because if she's not comfortable with fighting at all, you got to start somewhere. You got to start basic.
I think your approach is fantastic. Again, to substantiate, that's why it needs to come from you guys.
Well, there it is. It's out in the world now. It's from.
There you go. Hey, you might have a future gig. And all that. But that was great. And I want to thank you for all your input on that. I thought that was fantastic. I'm ready for demos.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you got planned? What do you got planned for us?
So I made a training plan. See, working on my instructorship already. So it depends on how much time we have. You tell me.
No, we easily got 10, 15 minutes. So do as many as you want. Yeah, we got time.
So we're going to go through a lot of basic things from our system. And again, I built this training plan based on our discussion of women's self-defense. And I tried to say, okay, what in our system is gross motor skill that can be used with or without a weapon, and that can translate from long distance Lagamana to short distances, and the moves look the same, right? They translate easily. And so you learn one, it translates to a knife. You learn stick, it translates to open hand. And so that's kind of what we built it around. What would it look like for women's self-defense if we gave a real quick first day of class? Let me show you the things that you could learn, kind of like I got on my first day of class. This is what the system's about. This is what it can do for you. Do you want in?
Perfect.
Yeah, so we're going to start with Lagamana. Really, that is kind of the basis of our system, right? And it's the first thing that Leo showed the women after he said, you know what, those nurses were murdered, and I can keep women from having that thing. He showed Lagamana, and he showed what we call it's an evade, and I'm using that word very vaguely, so please don't hold me to that word.
No.
but a reaction to strikes or hits, or if someone tries to throw something at you. They learn those two things first. We're also going to do some blocks from some of our numbers, very gross motor skill, what that looks like. Pocket stick, open hand against blade, blade against blade, and then we're going to end with heavy hits because it's Stockton Multi Style.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm going to lower myself so that'll give you guys a bigger picture. So.
I am going to try to put this on the bigger picture on the TV. So if it gets a little wonky, give me just a minute. We're going to make sure that you guys can see, which means I need to make sure I can see you.
Sounds good. All right. I will now disappear.
Okay. We are mirroring, guys. Well, I'm attempting. We'll see. I like Brian's comment. Simple, fast, and effective. Yeah, that's what we need, right? Yes, mirror. It's not mirroring. Hang on. Okay. We're going to give it one more attempt, and if it doesn't work, well, then I will just do it on the computer. Okay, it's not mirroring. So I'll check the chat. If you guys can't see me or you can't hear me, I think Brian Rodriguez, you've been fairly active on the chat. Can you hear me through the computer now? Anybody? Dean, sir, can you still hear me?
Definitely, you're coming through. So, and I'm sure they got to be able to hear you as well.
Here we go. Let's do this.
Yeah. We see you there, yeah. So
that's
you should be good.
See you.
Yeah, you should be fine. They're hearing you good. Oh,
we can hear you. Okay,
everybody can hear you.
We'll get on some demonstrations then.
Yep. So I'm going to lower.
All right. Let me make sure we can see here. Okay, for everyone at home, this is my husband Derek. He's going to be our he's my partner in life and in FMA. Okay, so first things first. You guys do. Got my training plan here, so excuse me for looking at my phone. So Lagamana, right? So we're going to do single strikes, show you what those look at, and then we're going to show you a Lagamana drill. Again, the basis of our system. And as any gender, female or male, I want to make sure that I can keep my distance and, again, escape or evade. So if he gives me a 1, I'm going to step off. I've got my check hand, and I'm going to cut. If he comes back here, I'm going to here. And then R, Savoy, Tabar to call. These are cuts. Cuts here. Right? So if he just gives me a 1, again, and here, and then I'm going to finish up. I've got my check hand. I make sure that I'm X hits, and I try to move around and get to the back. We'll come this way a little bit. So again, a 1 here. And I make sure I've got my strong check hand. We want to make sure that this is nice and strong because we check a lot in this system. So again, a 1. And if I miss or he comes back, because this first strike probably isn't going to actually put him down, all I do is turn, block, strike here, and then move out of the way so avoid a vertical. If we want to do a drill, we're going to work all of our angles. He's going to show you the pattern he's going to run, and then we're going to do a drill. So you start back just a little bit. Fish, show me your pattern. He's going to come here. That's when he comes back. He misses again. Excellent. All simple strikes. So again, here, I'm offline. Excellent. And these are all cuts. I want to make sure I keep my distance. Now he's going to move, part of the drill. And if you want to continue the drill, I go towards him. We just go back and forth. Lagamana, single strikes and drill. And I'm going to try to keep checking the chat. People have questions on this. 28-inch stick. You know, that's a good question. Probably. We order them in bulk, and they kind of come how they come. So we're going to do, again, evades. I'm using that word very loosely. More reactions. But I want to try to keep my distance. I want to evade and I want to escape. So let's just do 1 and 2. So if he gives me, if he gives me a 1, I'm going to evade, but I'm also going to get in an offensive strike. So I'm going to cut here, and then I'm going to move around to the back. I always want to try to get to his back. Come this way. So it looks like this. Notice I continue to move to the back. I keep my check hand on him. X hit. So that I make sure I have contact or control. I strike. If I can get away, I will. If he tries to come back, I still have my check hand. So one more time. Nice strong check hand. X hits to finish. For a 2. So the 2 comes from the other side. Come this way. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but it's almost the same move. Again, it translates. These moves translate from one strike to another. I'm here. I'm going to duck under. I still have my check hand. I'm going to slice, cut, hit, whatever I've got. Move to the back. Finish with X hits and a check hand. Awesome. Questions, comments? Okay, let's move on. We're going to do blocks. 1, 3, and 5, right? So this is what a 1 are in our system. A 1, right? A 3, yep, and a 5. This is really common. So stick, blade, knife. If you're in a fight, this motion, pretty common. So we're going to show how to block it. So 1, I'm going to step in. I'm going to have my check hand. We have strong check hands. I'm going to step straight to the middle, right at 12 o'clock. I'm going to block. It's called a roof block. Good. Just like this. Again, notice I'm stepping in at 12 o'clock and I'm shutting this down so that he can't create all of the force and come all the way through. Good. Again, hard. So here, and I'm going to finish. So void to Barter call. Still got my hand out in case he tries to come this way. I can check, come back through. So the whole thing looks like this. Void to Barter call. I've got my check hand, and we're good to go. Let's do a 3. So a 3, other side. 3 is going to come here. It's about hip height, anywhere from here to here, but it should be about hip height. So I can do stick up, or I can do stick down. If I do stick down, it's kind of a whip. So I'm going to come through here and come straight to the neck. And then again, I open up. So void to Barter call. Stick up. I'm facing the stick, stepping in at 12. Nice solid check hand. And then I'm going to come open them up. Let's do stick down. It's my favorite. To the neck. So void to Barter call. Again, come on hard. To the neck. And then I finish them up. We do some void to Barter call to finish a lot of our drills. They're cuts. I'm not just sweeping at them. These are cuts all the way down. And a 5, right? Pretty common. You'll see almost the same move, right? So a 5, I can come on the inside. I barely have to move. I want to get my feet out of the way. But if I can't, move my shoulder, get offline. To the neck, it's a void to Barter call. We're showing you a lot of the basic moves that translate from 1 to 3 to 5 to show you that it's similar. And that once you learn one thing, you've got skills in a lot of other sections. All right, let's do some blade on blade. Let me check the chat. Yes, thank you, Carver. Cutting and moving around to the back. Translate perfectly to edge weapons. Yeah, we like in our system how things translate. Long stick, medium blade, short blade. Please show my numbers. Carver, do you mean numbers for strikes? Okay, while Carver answers that, I will look at what we're doing next. I think Carver means our numbers for our strikes. So for us, this is a 1, comes either over or to the side of the head. This is a 2, we're going to come from this side, we're going to come down towards the neck and the head. A 3, you're going to come out of your hip, come across either your hip area. Our 4 is here, you're going to come up, and our 5 is here. We have 12. The only thing we're working on today is 1 through 5. Hey, thanks, Brian. Yeah, first 5 strikes. If that answered your question, hopefully. If not, we can get offline or I can show them at the end. So let's do blade on blade. Awesome. So we're going to do some of the same strikes. We've moved from a long weapon to a blade that you could carry, either a folder or a straight blade this size. Fits fairly nicely. No, black on black doesn't help. All right, let's do strikes 1, 3, and 5. We just did that with the long stick. We can do it with the blade. Okay, let's make sure you can see us. So if he gives me a 1, just 1 strike, exactly, perfect. I'm going to, remember we talked about our evade and our block? You'll see that you guys see this? There we go. So give me a 1. You'll see that I have my check hand, I'm evading, and I'm cutting, right? I'm offline, and I'm going to give that passing cut as I go. See that? And you notice I'm still moving around to the back. Again. Now, the best thing about this, I'm in a good position. I'm off to his side. So, again, that 1 cut is probably not going to stop the fight. So, if he comes back, all I have to do is turn. I don't have to move my feet. I'm already in position. So, we go 1, 2. I'm already in position, which is great. You'll see I've got my block and I've got my cut. Now, on this one, I still need to get around to his back. So, I'm going to come here. Then you'll see me move with my left foot because it's closest to him, which means I'm going to have fewer steps to get around. And I'm around the back. This makes him turn and face me to continue the fight. If I can evade, I will. If I can't, I'm in position. He has to move. More steps for him, less steps for me. So again, looks like this. And you'll notice he's getting a few little jabs as I come back here. I've got here and I've got his kidneys, which is never good. Now we're going to do, give me from the other side. Again, you'll see that I stop it, right? I'm not just over here cutting because he's going to come on through and cut me. But check hand's really important. So I'm going to check, same time as I cut. And if he comes back, his natural here, right? Check down, come here, and I move around to the back. Looks like this. Perfect. Let's talk about the 5, and then I'm going to show a knife drill that we do to work all of these. So 5. We talked about this earlier, very common. So I can shove down, get offline, and then I'm right back in this position like we did on our first one. So again, come back, and then I move around to the back. So we're going to do a knife drill. It's going to be the exact same flow that we do with Lago Mano. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those aren't numbered strikes. That's just the pattern. Okay, great. And you're going to see my footwork. See that I try to move with my left foot. I try to get around the back. And I try to use as few steps as I can. Strike. And you'll see that I've got additional, fun little stabs. He has to move to me. When I get around to his back, he has to come to me. Now, my instructors are probably online telling me to close the distance, so I'm going to do that. Again. Fun. Okay. Questions, comments on that before we show 1 or 2 more things? Slash and move. Absolutely, Brian. Okay, pocket stick. We talked about this earlier. Pocket stick is one of the best things for women's defense. It's one of my favorite things to do. It is easy for women. It's something you can use. I'm going to show you a pocket stick, and then I'm going to show you something that my daughter carries all the time, and we're going to train with that. So this is actually even bigger than a pocket stick needs to be. You just need to have a little bit on each side so that you can jab with each side of it. It can be this, or it can be this. This is my daughter's quote unquote magic wand. It's $1 at the dollar store, and it's easy to carry. This little thing hurts, and this is pretty sharp. We're going to leave this on for training because I like my husband. Okay, let's talk pocket stick. We're going to do pocket stick against no knife. So someone wants to get in a fight. They're throwing bunches of punches. How do we defend against that? So let's see. There. Okay, so I've got my pocket stick or my quote magic wand, which is what I'll refer to it because why not? So if he gives me a punch, right? That sucks. However, he gives me a punch. I'm going to block. C-clamp if you can. If you can't, just block, right? Gross motor movements. First step, block. At the same time, I'm going to take my pocket stick. I'm going to shove it up in his arm. This hurts. I'm going to use the pointy end. Sorry, Derek. I'm here, right? If you don't feel comfortable trying to catch this, which it's not that hard. It looks kind of fun, but it's not hard. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, you can punch in the face or in the jaw at the same time as you block. Okay, now what? Great, I've blocked this, but we don't just stand like this. So I'm going to block, and then I'm going to hook. So the pocket stick is great. You've got that end of that puño. You're going to hook, and then you are right back into what we learned earlier. We get to the back. So again, bunches of punches. Best thing about pocket stick, I want to try to get collar, neck, face as much as I can with this stick. We'll do one more on this side, we'll do the right, and then we'll do multiple punches. Other side. So this one's a little more tricky for me specifically, and I think in general, because it's not as gross motor movement. So there's some options. If I get this, I can block here. If this is my oh shit response, that's fine. If I don't get this hand into the action the first time, again, that's fine. I can sweep, check, pocket stick. So if I forget this hand and it's no shit response, that's fine. Oh crap, we all have them. I can still hook. I can still use this hand because I fed it right to me. Pin, pocket stick. If I do get this hand in the fight, I can punch, or if I can block and get my pocket stick in here, also helpful. But no matter what, I'm going to hook, I'm going to pin, and I'm going to go to work. Short, quick jabs and punches, collars, neck, face. If I have multiple, I'm going to do here. If he comes this way, this hand to the face, this hand blocks, and I'm right back into my step one. If it comes from the other side, punch. This thing's awesome. I love pocket stick, and I hope that shows you a little bit of what's possible and really easy to learn with pocket stick. Okay, we're going to do open hand against blade. We're going to show you disarms for all 5 strikes. Again, we have 12, but we're only doing 1 through 5. Disarms are, I'm going to show you almost the same disarm from every strike, just to show you how they translate. You learn one, you can kind of learn them all. And then we're going to end with heavy hits. So question? Ooh, yeah, magic wand to hold your hair up. That would be a good place to actually have it. If I have my hair up and I can throw this thing in here. Let me try that out. Patrick, Chris. Yeah, that's not bad. Then I can grab it. Messes up my hair, but I like the idea. An asp. So WB Carver. I carried an asp in Afghanistan on all of my deployments. It was a little pocket asp. You could shake it open. They were more scared, our enemy was more scared of the asp than they were our M4. Because they knew we probably weren't going to shoot them if they weren't shooting at us, but they sure as hell knew we would beat them with an asp. So that thing is great to carry. Marianne loves a pocket stack. I know she does. Okay. 2 more and we're good. Okay. What did I say we're doing? Open hand against blade with disarms. And okay, one more thing. I don't ever train with my hair down. Today it is down because I kind of wanted to demonstrate that these are so easy. It doesn't matter. Like my hair can be everywhere, it can be in my face, and I can still do these because they're gross motor movements. So back to open hand against blade with disarms. So scoot this way. Okay. So again, he's going to give me a number 1 strike, right? Excellent. I am going to gross motor move block. I'm using my bone versus my muscle because my bone is stronger. So he's here. All I do is step and block. You'll see I'm parallel so that I'm blocking with both hands. Gross motor. And then I'm just going to feed it to myself. Got one hand. I'm going to feed it to myself and pull them in. So you'll see I have a good thumb grip on the back. I'm digging my thumb in between these little bones, which you can break pretty easily. And then I have this part of my fingers wrapped around his palm. I'm going to bend his wrist by sucking it in and bending it. You'll see I have control. He doesn't fake well, so this is pretty good. And then I can hear and finish him off however I see fit. So, hey, look at that. Last one, block. You'll see my right hand goes over and I feed it into my other hand. By this time, I come up here. I've got these grips. This is a little high. I'm just holding it up to show it. It would suck into here, and all I do is lean forward. If you can't get this grip, squat just a little bit. You can also twist, which is lovely. At this point, I have control. I can take the blade and finish how I see fit. Number 2. So number 2 strike obviously comes from this side. Again, I'm going to gross motor skill. I'm going to block. And then I'm going to do almost the same thing. But this time it's my left hand. I'm going to feed it to my right. I've got that nice good grip on the back of the hand. I suck it in and I pull them over. So another one of my favorites I want to show you, number 1. So we talk about other martial arts, right? We're showing arm bar. Gross motor, I stop. I'm going to flip them over. There will not be this much distance. I'm just showing you. You're here. I'm going to take this part of my hand and I'm going to roll it. Here's his elbow. I'm going to roll it up under here, turn myself in, and then put him on the floor. You'll see his elbow is flexed the opposite direction it should go. So we'll do that in fast motion. I'm in a pretty good position here. If he starts to get crazy, this can come up to this side, and then you've got a one-hand control. Sorry, Derek. That one didn't feel real good. Okay, we've done 1, we've done 2. Let's do 3. Strike number 3. I'm going to block. Gross motor movement. I'm going to come over. I'm going to feed him to me. And we're right back to the same one. Down, please. Thank you. Appreciate your effort. A lot of time this will be taught that you come in with an X. I can do it. This is more natural. It's the same thing except I go one hand and then 2. It would be faster if I went 2 at the same time, but it's not how my body mechanics work. 4, please. Block. Reach over. Suck them in. To the floor. Finish. Your finishes should be violent, right? You see that I'm slashing and I'm stabbing. I'm not just taking the knife and saying thank you. We always want to finish our drills. And 5, right? A very common, I'm in a knife fight, someone's going to stab me. So 5, again, is this. I can go inside or outside. I come here, flip them over, down please. Thank you. Outside. I can armbar him from here as well. So if I'm outside, I just want to get offline. You'll see that all I'm doing is moving, and I'm kind of my oh shit response. Can do 2 if I need to. Get them offline, roll them over, put them on the floor, thank them for a service. Okay, questions on empty-handing its knife and disarms? Yes, Marianne. Armbar is great for gross motor. You just roll them over. Okay, I'm from Stockton. Well, I'm part of that club, and they're big on heavy hits and multiple strikes. And I think that it's important to have enough confidence in yourself and your skill and your blocks to be able to take those heavy hits. If you're in your fight, no one's holding back. So we're going to end with that. So before I do that, anybody have any questions in the chat? You give about 20 seconds, and then we'll do some heavy hits and multiple strikes. Also, if anyone know, there's like no air in Colorado. You're like 6,000 something feet. It's terrible. Okay, I see no questions or comments, so we're going to start with heavy hits. We'll do a single, and then we'll do a double, and then we'll do a triple for multiple strikes. Derek gets to choose the strikes. I just have to react. Any arm breaks or just locks? So the ones I showed tonight are really just disarms. I'm controlling the arm. A lot of those, if I push hard enough, which really isn't that hard, I can break the wrist. Or in those arm bars, I have that pressure so the elbow is going this way. And if I push hard enough, I can break the elbow here. All right. Heavy hit stick. Ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh no, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to show you which ones he has the he has the option of 1 through 5. So again, if I'm doing a 1, nice and easy, I'm blocking the exact same as I would before. Stepping in at 12, except you always block hard. On heavy hits, instead of here, sometimes I'll brace my hand. So I'll brace my hand here. These I'm going to show you where I have my check hand up. So 1, harder. Let's go. Nice. Now he gets to choose 2 hits. Come on. That's all you got? Come on. You saw me brace my hand on the last one. Now he gets 3. Any hits he wants, and I have to react. Again, I can block low, stick up or stick down. Either one is fine. Woo. 3 hits. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Derek. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you guys watching. Nice, thank you. If anybody has questions, I would love to have conversations. If anybody wants to video train, I'm totally down for it. Dean and the FMA community, thank you for the opportunity. And that's all I got, sir.
No, that's all you got. That was fantastic. I want to, and please thank your husband too for.
Absolutely, Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a training partner. It's nice to be locked up in a pandemic with another martial artist.
Thank you. Thank you for see. Always not. But yeah, no. I mean, that was fantastic. Just before we let you go,
absolutely.
Just, future goals for you. What's coming down the pipeline?
Well, so I'm up for promotion. I'm a major in the Army. I'm up for promotion to Lieutenant Colonel in the next 2.5, 3 years. So working hard, serving at Northcom. We've got the watch, so you guys sleep soundly. So that's the professional goal. Really, for FMA, work on instructorship. That's a long-term goal. It's not going to happen overnight. Got some good training partners here, and I've got some good support through Stockton and Monterey. So I think that it's possible. And then really, overall long-term goal for FMA is really to spread the art. So wherever I move, have the opportunity to start my club. I use the club very a couple of guys in my basement. So spread the art and work on my instructorship. As far as family goes, my husband and I, we have 2 children. They are the best thing in the world. I have 3.5-year-old twins. Got a boy and a girl.
Oh, I got twins too. Fantastic.
Yeah, oh, they're the best.
Yeah, yeah.
So really,
boy and a girl.
What?
Boy and a girl.
Yes, I have a boy and a girl.
Same here.
It's perfect, right?
I know. Done.
Yes. So really, most of our energy and most of the stuff that we want in life is now for them. We do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
No.
Yeah, that's about it. That's pretty cool.
No, this was fantastic. I want to thank you again so much for coming on. So what I do is I download this onto the YouTube channel. And of course, I'll put it on your wall and all that. But hopefully, this is fantastic. Again, they should be very proud of you, the Multi Stockton group there.
Thank you.
You obviously really represent them well. And all that. So, and check the comments here. Chad Bailey, minor and East guy, he's coming out to Colorado. I think he's got a seminar out there, and I think he made an invite for you. And which leads to my next comment. Get out there and man, try it. What we talked about. See if you can get success with the women's self-defense. I think it's got to come from you guys. And I think what you said was your opening question of comfortability. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what do you come to? I think that is like a great intro question. So I'd be just curious. I really would be how it works out if you ever do that. Please let me know because I think that's where it needs.
I've taught women's self-defense before. So I'm a Kappa Delta, which is a sorority that I was in undergrad, and my sorority sister runs the Kappa Delta chapter as the alumni in Moorhead. So I've gone back and taught a self-defense class to an entire group of sorority girls. I've taught it to friends of mine's wives. But I didn't ask that question. I went in with
I'm just curious. I think
I went in with the general assumption that I started at ground zero, that you don't know anything. Started with that assumption, and we started with, can you punch this bag? Like, how does that feel? How do you have that in you? What's going on? But they quickly, every time I've taught, they have quickly been like, this is great. I am going to hit you. I'm like, this is okay. Great. And we usually use the guy as a dummy. So I don't say dummy as an intellectual, just as the training partner dummy, and they love it. They love tossing them around and kicking them. And so I think the interest is there. And I think the ability for women to learn quickly and adapt and get comfortable quickly is there. But again, I need to do better at asking those questions as well.
No, I just think it's a great opening. Like, hey, what do you come to? I'm just curious to see if there's something behind that is and all that stuff. Yeah, but again, I want to thank you so much. You're a great representative, and it was a pleasure having you on.
Absolutely.
And we need.
Enjoyed this, so thank you for the opportunity.
Oh my gosh!
We'd love to hear from anybody watching or anybody that sees this. Send me a message. We'll train. We'll talk.
Yeah.
I'll talk to anybody. So.
Yeah, we gotta get more women. Definitely. But you take care of yourself out there, and look for that on your wall, the YouTube version.
Absolutely. And Chad Bailey, please send me a message. I don't think I can message you from here. Or, sir, if you want to share.
Yeah. Definitely message him. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that will work out for you guys. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
when
you get to instructor, we'll have to bring you back on when you get your instructorship.
That'd be great. It might be tough, but
yeah, we can stay updated with you. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Let me know if I can do anything for you, the community. I'd be more than happy.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
You too, sir. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone.
Phenomenal. All right. Who is coming up? I gotta check. I think maybe Alvin Aguilar, but I'll double check. But anyway, if you haven't already, hit subscribe to FMA channel on YouTube, and you get to see other great interviews such as this one and all that. And thank you for all that chimed in for questions and comments. I appreciate it. And hopefully you will see some of you next session soon. Hopefully, I'm thinking Sunday night in that case. All right, all. Take care.